Born and raised in Goliad, Texas. Grew up bay fishing and doing that kind of stuff. As far as hunting, the first adventure was whitetail. That's kind of what we do here in the state of Texas. That's the big game we go after and love. Then the adventure grew from there.
That first trip you took out there, what was your initial reaction?
It was harder than I thought it would be, for one. Here in the state of Texas, you hunt whitetail, you kind of do the sit and wait game, kind of the ambush style, especially when you're bow hunting. A lot of sitting, a lot of waiting. There, you can do that if you want to, but it's really just how to line yourself up and sneak up and stalk. And you said Steve's name,
yeah,
and he said somebody
else's name on the property,
and he had permission,
but he didn't.
Yeah.
It's because it wasn't even the right person's name. But he wound up getting his truck driving off, and after that, I was kind of, laughing about it, just thinking about his face when I finally rolled down that window all the way, and he kind of just bucked his eyes and was like, "Holy cow!" And there's nothing against it, but I mean, there's not black people in that area of Idaho. I mean, not at all. So.
It's too much.
Tejas.
That's still too.
Tejas Hunt Club Podcast is the podcast for you and you and you and you.
All right. Well, guys, welcome to another episode of the Tejas Hunt Club Podcast. Today, I'm joined by one of the other founding members of the Tejas Hunt Club, Mr. Jared Erikson.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you, man. Glad you could finally get you on one. You're going to be hosting some in the future, so get you on one and knock it out real quick.
Good deal.
Sounds good. So today we're going to talk about, kind of our Idaho trip that we did back in November. We went up to southern Idaho. Chased some mule deer in the snow. It was a pretty eye-opening but exciting adventure. Made me love chasing mule deer even more than I did prior to all the research and stuff, looking it up. But first, I'm just kind of let Jared do a little introduction of, who he is, what he's about, where he grew up.
Born and raised in Goliad, Texas. Lived there till I moved up here in 2007. But I grew up hunting and fishing in the agriculture industry, hunting industry down there, close to the coast, as Brandon said in the first one. Grew up bay fishing and doing that kind of stuff. As far as hunting, the first adventure was whitetail. That's kind of what we do here in the state of Texas. That's the big game we go after and love. Grew up hunting with my dad, about 7 years old. The first time we went on. Before that, I didn't get to hunt them, but I get to sleep in the bottom of a deer stand and got told to be quiet and that kind of good stuff, eating snacks. But I grew up doing that with my dad. Hunted all the way through high school. Kind of had a pause during college just because the funds are a little bit thin. But after that, kind of picked it back up, got into more of the fishing, did some offshore fishing at that point. Then the adventure grew from there, kind of venturing out into the exotics, and went to Africa a few years ago. Got to do that, got the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, we're going to do a whole podcast with you and Meagan. We're going to talk about Africa.
Cool.
Since both of y'all have been. Still waiting. We'll get there, though. We'll get there.
Then caught the Western bug and got the opportunity to talk to some people out in Idaho and kind of figure out how to do that out of state stuff. So that's kind of where we're at today.
Yeah. So you hunted that area the year prior because you drew the tag too. So you kind of scoped it out. And then you kind of told me about it and told me about the odds of drawing a tag and everything. So that first trip you took out there, what was your initial reaction?
It was harder than I thought it would be, for one. Here in the state of Texas, you hunt whitetail, you kind of do the sit and wait game, kind of the ambush style, especially when you're bow hunting. A lot of sitting, a lot of waiting. There, you can do that if you want to, but it's really just how to line yourself up and sneak up and stalk and do that. There's a lot of country to look over in glass and and find what you're looking for. Find a buck worthy of shooting, a mature buck to really go after, and that's what it was about. I mean, you're glassing stuff 1,000+ yards away, and you really got to think to yourself, do I want to put my pack on and go after this, or do I want to look for another one? So,
Right. Well, that's pretty cool. So when you told me about it, I wanted to hunt mule deer before. I was still on the fence about which one I liked more. I either wanted to do more mule deer or elk, but it approached really quick that mule deer was a thing. But after I guess going on that hunt, was it a huge change from hunting in Texas, or like what skills, I guess hunting skills, did you think you were lacking or needed to gain to adapt to it?
Definitely the stalking piece. We're not used to that down here. We kind of just wait and be patient. But down there, the first year I went, there was no snow on the ground. Really, when it was cold, it was in the teens, but not a real big snowstorm. And so a lot of brush, a lot of sagebrush, real tall. So just kind of figuring out how to get around and get up on something like that. They are very keen to sight, smell, all that kind of stuff. So you got to play the wind to do that. That's something we're not really used to down here either. So just a bigger challenge, and that's kind of what I was looking for anyway. A lot different than that year without snow and everything was a lot different than this last year with 6 inches and -7 degrees. That was a whole nother challenge on stocking up.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of knew what we were getting ourselves into. I mean, we were watching the weather weeks before that, trying to gauge on what we were going to take with us and clothes and what it was going to be like. And for one, I almost came up a little bit short because I know that my third day when it was like -17 or something like that, I was like, yeah, we're going to got to get some more layers or something. But just going up to that hunt, we knew we were in for it because it started snowing on us before we even got out of Texas. I think we were in the Panhandle and we were getting pretty good snow. So we knew it was going to be pretty cold. So we had a pretty easy trip, I guess, going up. We went up through Colorado, stopped in Denver, stayed the night there, and then woke up to more snow.
Yep.
More snow. The night before it was clear, and then woke up the next morning, it was like a winter wonderland.
Blizzard through Wyoming?
Yeah. And then we drove up through Colorado, got to Wyoming, and then that's when we drove probably about, 35, 45 miles an hour for a good couple hours because I couldn't see the car in front of me, just the headlights glow, and that was probably
18-wheeler tail lights as well.
Yeah, and then had 18-wheelers passing us on the side. They were flying because they drive in that, but I'm not used to it. No, I ain't gonna lie, I was a little bit scared. But we made it through it. It wasn't that bad. Got to Idaho. We stayed in, what was it called?
The Caribbean.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice place. I liked it. Had 2 beds, had a little kitchen, good hot shower. So that's all about what we needed. So I know we got up there and got everything unloaded. Found out that our food that we had in the ice chest was still frozen solid.
Yep. Didn't need ice.
Didn't need ice on that trip. But got there first night. It was pretty good. Got everything settled. Got all our stuff laid out for the next day. And then went to sleep. Woke up pretty early that next morning and got after it.
Yep. We found out that deer don't move if it's -degrees.
Yeah.
So you got to wait till it warms up to at least 5 or 10 or something like that. Learn that lesson.
Yeah. But that first trip, we went up to the top of the mountain that was in that area, and we thought we were going to drive up there a good ways, but as soon as we turned one corner, my truck got stuck. Like I said, driving in snow was not prepared, but we parked on the side right there, put on our packs and kind of made a little jaunt, I guess you'd say.
We're pretty ambitious for the first day.
Definitely ambitious for the first day. We were like, well, we're going to walk up this mountain. It is a mountain to us. I mean, it was 8,000 feet, I guess, was the tallest. I mean, we didn't get all the way
top.
Yeah, we didn't get all the way to the top, but we went a good ways. Definitely enough to feel it burn. And walking through snow is a different experience, when you don't grow up in it. And then I'm gonna lie, the elevation was a little butt kicker too, because it was hard to breathe up there.
It doesn't matter how much you prepare; you're not prepared for
that.
So.
No, sir. We live at sea level.
Yeah.
We're pretty darn close to it. So hitting that elevation, it was different for sure. But it was fun. We made that first made it around the first little bend, then kind of set up, started glassing. We were looking up on top, starting out. We found some elk, bedded down up there, and I think one little mule deer doe that was walking down, and then a bunch of cows. A bunch of cows in some places that we didn't think, or at least I didn't think cows would be up on a mountain.
I didn't think cows would go 7,500 feet, but they did.
But they were up there, man. They were up there. You'd see something move off, and you'd be like, "Oh, is that a mule deer or something?" And then pick your binos up and look, and it's just a black Angus cow sitting up there. But we stayed up there that morning for a little while. Then we decided we were going to take a shortcut back to the truck, or so we thought.
It didn't end up being short.
And it wasn't a shortcut, but we made that walk back and, found some more cows off of some cliffs and stuff, and then got the truck unstuck, kind of rolled down the hill a little bit, kind of went down to the lower section where we were hunting at kind of the flats area, and started glassing up some stuff down there. Saw some does moving around, and then we didn't see a buck yet.
No, not
just
the first time.
Just a couple does, and then made our way through the flats and stuff. Kind of just stopped for a little while in the truck, and glassed for a little bit, and then we spotted some elk. A bunch of elk
on the flats. Yeah.
I'll have to put the video. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll get to see this.
Yeah, there's some pretty big bulls in there, man. There's one in the back. 6x6. Yeah. That was cool.
But if you're just listening, check out the YouTube channel and watch this part of the video, and I'll add in the clip of the elk that we saw, which is pretty cool to roll up on. You don't get to see elk like that in Texas. If you're lucky, you might get to see some, but not the big groups that we saw up there. And it was pretty cool to see them all running like that.
And the first year I went there, I didn't see any elk at all. I saw a few moose, kind of halfway up the tallest peak there. Yeah. But that's another thing you learn is like depending on the snow drift and kind of how far up the mountain or down the mountain it is, depends on where the animals go and move. Yeah. So I saw mule deer from the flats all the way to the top the first year, but we saw some elk because it was 6 to 8 inches of snow everywhere.
Yeah. And they moved through it like there was nothing there.
No.
I mean, we sat there and watched them for a little bit. We saw them go over a hill. We tried to go catch up to them and like along the road there, and they disappeared. Whole herd just disappeared. Didn't even see where they went. Nothing else. We sat there and watched for a while and just couldn't find them again, which is crazy. As many elk as there were there, and then they just poof, gone. But rode around for a little bit, kind of scoped it out, but we really didn't find any bucks that day. We saw a good group of does, watched them for a little bit, and then but didn't really see much else that day. So went back to the hotel and stayed there, and got up for the next morning where it was even colder that next morning, and then we went and met up with Steve.
Yep.
So Steve's the local guy up there that was helping us out, and lo and behold, when you get a local is when you find the bucks. Yeah. But we were still that same area that we were in that day before, but we sat up there and glassed and found two pretty good bucks. I'd probably say the biggest one's probably in the 160s probably, mm-hmm. And then the other one's probably high 140s, maybe 150s. So I mean, definitely something I would have taken
for your first
for your first mule deer buck. I mean, that's almost 40, 50 inches bigger than the biggest whitetail I've shot. So he definitely would have made for a good, icing on top of the cake of that trip. But we glassed them for a little while, and we got in the mix with them for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a big group of does with them. So, I mean, walking through snow and does watching, and those two bucks weren't dumb. So they kind of spotted us a couple times. We tried to make some plays, but it just didn't work out. But we got within probably about 120 yards of them for a good while.
The crazy thing is, and something I wouldn't really think of, is that they don't mind hearing the snow crunch. Everything's walking in the snow and everything. It's crunching, right? I mean, they know something's there, but it may be another deer, maybe something else.
Yeah.
If they can smell you, and if they hear some sagebrush kind of break up, and you hit that, that's when they got you.
Yeah. And like they don't have those big ears for nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, their eyes are pretty good too. But we tried to get on those bucks. We found a huge trail where they've been cutting across on this fence. And, I mean, we saw tracks everywhere, kind of in this little bowl area where they were hanging out. You couldn't really see this little flat from the road or anything, but it was just kind of tucked off in there, and that's where they were hanging out. And, I mean, they knew land. They knew where to go to get out.
Mm-hmm.
They knew where to sneak by. And
where the food is.
And everything else. I mean, they had a good trail from that flat off into this feeding crop field. So they would sneak through that flat, pretty much undetected, hit those crops. And, I mean, they're out in the middle of the open, so they could see everything around them.
Depending on where they were, I mean, you're kind of dipped in there, too. You could be sitting on the road and not even know they're there because it kind of went off in the field a little bit.
Yeah, the topography of it really lended itself to the deer, and they knew how to use it.
Yep.
But Steve left us for a little while. He had to go take his kids to steer show. Yeah, which they wound up doing pretty good at. So yeah, he made the right decision. But that afternoon we went out and we spotted spotted a little spike, or a little 2-point, I guess you'd call it. Texas would be a 4-point, but in the West it's 2-point. But saw him, and he was with a bunch of does. Kind of snuck in on them. Well, I guess about 100 yards or so.
Yeah,
count that as sneaking in.
Right.
And watched them for a while. You tried to make a play back towards that flat and see if anything else was coming, but nothing much really showed up that day.
No.
Then we sat there for a while. We got some pretty good footage of some deer working around. Oh, that's when we saw that little 2-point when he was chasing that doe around, and he was dogging on her pretty good.
Yeah, they were running pretty good.
But did that, kind of made a long trek back to the truck, across the snow patch. It gets dark quick out there. You don't take into consideration the mountains that are around you. So when the sun starts going down, it's going down. Like it was 5 o'clock, and it was pretty dark already. So
yeah, within 15, 20 minutes, it's dark.
Yeah, because I kind of misjudged that. I had to walk back to the truck in the dark, but ain't no big deal. I mean, we didn't see any grizzly bears or anything else walking around. So
yeah. hopefully they're sleeping.
Yeah. Oh, that was we were sitting there watching that buck chase that doe. Was when we saw that little marmot or whatever run by.
It
was like a little white weasel looking thing, but he had a little mouse in his mouth, and they were sitting there talking like, we weren't the only ones out there hunting, but he had more success than we did.
Yeah.
He wasn't going hungry that night. But that next morning, though, this is the third day, that's when it really, really got cold.
Yes, negative degrees.
Yeah, way off in there. And I'm not going to lie, we slept in for a little bit that day.
We slept in, till about 10:30, 11 o'clock?
Yeah, waited until it got back up to 0, or I don't even think it got to 0. I think it was still -7 or -5. And we got out there, but lo and behold, we found a doe by herself off to on that right side.
Oh,
because that was the day you made the
little canyon.
Yeah. So we found her, and then we said we'd come back. We went and checked that other place where we saw the bucks at, and we made our way back around. And I think that time is when you saw that buck out there with it.
Mm-hmm. So it was a little canyon about 500 yards away on the other side.
Yeah.
And he was just sitting there with her. He wasn't going anywhere. She kind of bedded down and stayed there. Then I had to make the decision on whether I wanted to walk 2 miles in a circle to try to get behind him or what that looked like. So did that. Kind of made my way over to the left and made a big half moon circle trying to get behind them. And, you try to mark it on X and know where they're at and kind of sneak up on them like that. But you're 50 yards here or there, whichever way. So going in the vicinity that way. But I think I got 95 yards to them before they kind of busted me. Yeah.
And like, even when I was I didn't realize either. And I mean, this is all stuff you got to learn and go and do. But it's when I was looking at you through the spotting scope, when I first saw you pop up, and I could see the deer and you in the same frame, and I'm like, oh, dude, you're right there.
That was 95 yards.
But that was even before you even got 95 yards.
Yeah.
That was like the first time I saw you, and you were still probably a couple hundred from him. Yeah. But I'm like, oh, dude, you're right there. Just walk up. And I'm like realizing, like, no, man, he's a whole lot farther than what you think. It's just learning that, being you like using spotting scopes in that way. But it was cool to watch you stalk in on them and like try to film it, from where I was. But it was cool to see you move around and like what you actually have to do. And then like you got to that point, and then it was like just one little branch, huh?
You know where I messed up, right? I'll tell you where I messed up. So, lesson learned. If you walk on the snow, they think it's okay. But I could have gone to the left around some sagebrush and not try to step over it and get through it that way. And I should have done that. But I tried to sneak my way through some and, just made some noise on some sagebrush. And that's when I saw her pop her head up. And he did shortly after that. And all I could do was glass him in 95 yards or shoot him at 95 yards with the laser, and they were gone after that. She took off, and he wasn't too far behind her. So.
Yep. And then they kind of ran down in that canyon, and I mean, I watched the whole thing. So they actually blew out some more deers, 2 does and another smaller buck that were in that canyon. And I sat there and watched them, and I noticed the smaller buck was coming. He was probably a little 2x2 or 2x3 or something like that. And he came towards me, like that doe was coming towards me, and he was following her. And I was like, "Oh shoot, he might have a little play here." So I tried to sneak best I could down to get in position. And they, I lost them for a little bit, and then I kept kind of going where I thought they would go. And then I popped up to a spot, just kind of waited. And I tried to like range around me and where I thought they would go. And the place was where it was about 60 yards where I thought they were coming. And I kept trying to watch this spot. And then kind of looked up higher on the hill, and they were about 107 yards just staring right at me.
Gotcha already.
Yeah. So I pulled up a rangefinder and clicked it, and it came out to like 107 yards. And I just kind of watched them there. They watched me, and I tried not to move, but they caught on and kind of bounded off like mule deer do, which is pretty cool to watch. It's not cool to watch when you're watching them, but just if you're just
when you're hunting them, but the
distance, yeah. But it's different, obviously, than whitetail. But
I think Western hunters will sit here and listen to us right now and laugh at it. But I think it's a guessing game. It's like, where are they going to be? How can I kind of make my way to get in front of them and get within shooting distance and that kind of stuff? I'm sure there's a better way to do it, but that's all we do.
Yeah, that's all we try to do. I mean, like you said, it's not something you're just going to go your first time and be real good at, but you'll learn. You can get lucky. I mean, you can get lucky, or if you're that skilled a hunter, you can go your first time and get it done. But I think we learned a lot on that trip for sure. Mm-hmm. Made our way back to that other field where they were feeding at, watched those does again, but nothing came out after. So we didn't see any more bucks or anything. And then that's kind of how like the fourth day went. Tried to go back that same spot.
It was kind of conglomerate of those type of things. Get on one try.
Get on one try and try to go again, and then kind of blow them out. We made our way back to that flat, but that was the day They were like, oh yeah, we'll just climb this hill right here. It ain't that big.
Yeah.
And they got to the top of it.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good climb.
It's not a foothill.
No, not at all. It really was a mountain.
Yeah.
Not just a little ridge. But got up there, we found a buck again, tried to get on him, but he didn't they were moving, chasing does around, and it's just hard to chase them when they don't know where they're going and you're trying to find them.
They were moving faster than we thought.
Yeah. Yeah. We had an idea where they were going.
They went that
way. But we were just moving a lot faster than they were. And I mean, those animals aren't on a schedule. They're just living life and trying to stay alive. So we kind of wound up.
They did a good job.
Yeah, they did a damn good job. But we kind of, got ahead of them and kind of blew them back. But we tried to sit that field again that night. And then we really did. All we saw was those does again. But you made a pretty good, little climb off into there.
I used my whitetail skills.
Yeah. So we sat there pretty much from, I think, about 2:30 till dark. And Jared went out in the middle of this, in the field their feet did, and found a little spot, kind of sat there, just waited. I mean,
deer all around me.
Does all around. I'll put that clip in here too, but does all around him, just
5 yards away, I think, is the closest that they got to me.
Yeah, but just no bucks around, man. It'd have been a little chip shot. Too bad we didn't have a doe tag. We came back. We probably would have killed the doe. It had a chance to if we'd had a doe tag.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a pretty good trip. So when he was making that stalk, I waited there trying to see if anything else would come through that flat, headed to that field, but didn't really see much. So I decided to make the trek back to the truck. We had seen some other hunters by then.
So preface this. Locals like to hunt from the truck. They'll drive around on the road and just kind of sit on the flatbed and glass, which it's archery only zone.
Yeah.
And so, you can't hunt with a rifle. It doesn't make sense to hunt from a road really. But I guess nobody really knows who owns what. And everybody thinks they own a lot of other stuff that they don't. So Onyx comes in handy, or if you know a local like Steve, who actually owns the property.
Yeah.
You're in good shape. But tell them about your experience.
Yeah, so I made it back to the truck, and we had seen hunters riding around those last couple of days. And, I mean, everybody was nice, wave and everything, because you always hear stories about, people hate it when they see Texas license plates and all this stuff. But we ran into him. We ran into another guy, sat there and talked to him for a while.
Yeah, real nice.
And he was a local, and he said he loved it when, guys from Texas come up and other states too. So it was cool, meeting somebody from there and being able to see him. What the heck? Oh, man. When did you do that?
It wasn't like that a minute ago.
Had some technical difficulties, but we're getting it fixed. There we go.
Where'd it shut off?
Yeah, I guess. It said maximum something reached. I'll have to check on that. Probably just a setting you got to turn off. But back to what we were saying. I sat there, and like I said, we've been seeing people, and I see this truck coming down the road. I was kind of off on a little side road, and there's another way you could go this way. And I was like, oh, he'll just pass by and keep on going. I was, waiting for Jared to come walking back. He keeps coming straight, like down the side road. I'm like, oh, he'll just pass by me, He's just going down this way. Well, this guy stops right next to me. And I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. So I kind of cracked my window just a little bit,
It's cold.
It's cold outside, yeah.
Been sitting out there since 2:30.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what this guy's gonna, kind of his attitude when he gets out of his vehicle. So he comes out and he's but I can tell he's got a little attitude. He goes, hey, is that your buddy down there? And I kind of roll my window down now, like kind of like, oh, like something went down. And he looks at me. I'm guessing he was not expecting to see a black guy sitting in a truck in the middle of Idaho, during deer season. But he kind of just like looked like that real quick, kind of like looked at me again. And I said, he goes, is that your buddy down there? And I said, yeah. He goes, well, he blew up our hunt. He blew up our hunt. We were hunting, and you're supposed to get permission. You're supposed to get permission. That's what he kept saying. He goes, you guys come up here, and then you can run around and hunt wherever you want. You got to get permission to hunt up here. And I said, well, sir, we have permission. He said, no, you don't. No, you don't. You don't know who owns that land. I said, well, yes, sir, I do. Yes, sir, I do. But he goes, well, your buddy blew up our hunt and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, yes, sir. I'm sorry. I apologize about that. But I heard you the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do anything about it now. He's like, oh, you need to get permission. And then I rolled my window down all the way. And his wife was sitting there too with him. And I'm like, look, dude, I get it. Like, there's a problem. But you're not just going to keep sitting here yelling for no reason.
Right.
He just throws his hands up and hops in his truck and rolls off.
Well, wasn't he didn't. You said Steve's name.
Yeah.
And he said somebody else's
name owned the property.
And he had permission.
And he had permission, but he didn't.
Yeah.
It's because it wasn't even the right person's name.
No.
But, he wound up getting in his truck, driving off. And after that, I was kind of, laughing about it, just thinking about his face when I finally rolled down that window all the way. And he kind of just bucked his eyes and was like, holy cow. Like, and I nothing against it, but, I mean, there's not black people in that area of Idaho.
Not at all.
I mean, not at all. So I'm sure it was surprising to say the least for that guy. But
how I blew up his hunt. I was in the middle of a wheat field since 2:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Only way to get that close to the mule deer that I could figure out. So did that. I was probably a couple hours or so on my knees in the snow behind sagebrush, just kind of waiting. The does got so close. They got within 5 yards, enough to know, there's something here. I got to go. They looked at me for 15 minutes before they figured it out. But finally, they kind of trotted off and went back into the gullies and everything. And at that point, it is negative something degrees. It's getting dark. I can't feel my knees. So I attempted to get up. And I probably had beginning stages of hypothermia because I shook all the way to the truck. But I was going to the truck.
Yeah.
And this gentleman was parked on the road probably 300-400 yards away at the edge of that field that we kind of glassed at too. But I don't understand how I could blow somebody's hunt up if it's an archery only area.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting in your truck all afternoon. But and you don't have permission to hunt in that field. Which I guess
no, sir. You don't have camo on or anything. No. I mean, not saying you could, need camo to kill a deer, but
sure.
How are you going to stock up on something?
Yeah,
he didn't look too.
I started walking across the field, and he honked at me and threw his arms up and gave him a nice little polite wave and walked back to the truck. So,
yeah, I'm not sure what that guy was, what he was looking for, or what he thought was going to happen by Because, I mean, when he was coming down the road, he was throwing up rocks, man. And like I said, when he first got out the truck, he wasn't too happy. He had a little attitude to him. Yeah. But like I said, man, it's just things you can talk about later. I find it funny because I'm not too sure his wife wanted to drive him home if he would have got a little too rowdy.
Damn Texas boys.
Yeah, I mean there would nobody out there to help him.
Them Texas boys need to get permission.
Yeah. That's going to be a story I would tell for a long time. Because like I said, it's funny. But Idaho was a lot of fun, man. The country's beautiful. I mean, the whole drive. I mean, the drive up there, the drive back. I mean, if you haven't been out west, not even if you're just hunting, if you haven't taken a road trip out west and driven through Colorado and Wyoming, you need to. There's a whole lot of stuff to look at. I mean, that area, Idaho, is beautiful as well.
Yep.
Montana, all of it. It's all beautiful. So if you haven't taken that trip, you should definitely take it. And add on a hunting trip to it. Even go fly fishing. I mean, I haven't tried it yet, but it's on my list of things to do.
I went up there a couple years ago before I went on the first hunt to the stock dog finals up there in Afton, Wyoming. And the summer's beautiful too. I mean, it gets to 75 during the day, but about 50, 55 at night in perfect weather. Beautiful. It's all green. And then took the opportunity to go on my first fly fishing trip too.
Yeah.
Caught about a 3-inch brown trout that fell through the net, but it was a fun floating trip that summer.
We'll have to do that too. I mean, that next day we kind of hung out with Steve and his kids. They tried to help us hunt a little bit too. Mm-hmm. We went and had dinner with them that night. That next day, they showed us a little honey hole for another animal that we like to that we like to chase, and just so happens that they are Merriam turkeys that needed to be added to the list
that we have not
to hit that old slam. Yet. Yeah. I got an Eastern and a couple Rios, but that Merriam's high on the list. And one day we'll have to head down to Florida and get that Osceola too, and then Mexico to get the ghouls. But we're gonna have to try and plan a trip back up there to go chase those turkeys because there's a whole bunch of them, and they were pretty big birds too. Yeah. But it was a good trip, man. I loved going out west. I mean, it was my second time going this year. Went to Montana back in the summer, and then going to Idaho in November. I love it. I love chasing mule deer, and I want to do it again. From going down to Mexico and hunting mule deer down there in the desert to hunting them up there on the mountain. Yep. Definitely gonna have to play that tag game.
Oh man,
sure. That tag game. Get some points this year, but we'll try to do it again. I mean, you already drew a tag, so
yeah. I admittedly so. I've chased them with a bow for 2 years and have been unsuccessful. So I'll take the opportunity to grab a rifle tag for September.
Yeah.
So it should still be cold, but hopefully not too much snow or anything on the ground. And if there is, it's okay. I can reach out there and touch them.
Yeah. I don't have to get as close. I mean, like I said, we got on those 2 bucks that second day. I mean, if we'd have had rifles, we both would have been coming home with deer. Yep. Yeah, just a little handicap with the bow. It's fun to shoot, though. Definitely. So we'll be planning that trip. Have to get that on film.
Yeah.
That'll be nice. September in Idaho. Be excited to do that for sure.
In Idaho, you get in a queue, and then at 10 o'clock that day, it scrambles everything and puts you in a random number. And by 3 o'clock that afternoon, it opened up to me, and I could go to what unit I was looking for and get whatever tag I wanted if it wasn't taken yet. And had the opportunity to draw our archery elk or mule deer rifle, and was very tempted to draw that elk tag, but I don't think I'm ready just yet.
Yeah.
So I don't want to make that trip and not be ready for it.
Right. Once again, another animal we haven't hunted yet, so it's got a whole new learning curve. But I'll try to see if I could pick something up. I think Idaho's like the second draw or something later on. I'll check it out, but hopefully I'll try and do a pronghorn this year. We'll see, either here in Texas or try to draw a tag up in Wyoming. See how that goes. But we got some turkey hunts coming up.
How about them turkeys?
Dude, I'm ready.
Me too. I didn't get to hunt last year.
Yeah.
I had my first son, River. And so it's a blessing. Didn't get to go turkey hunting, but at least when he's about 5 years old, he can sit in my lap and we'll have a big birthday trip every year.
For sure. So, yeah, that's nice. The birthday following.
I'll have to excuse Mom. We got to go on a birthday trip. See you later, Mom.
Yeah. That'll be cool. We'll try to chase those down south. I'm going to be going to Arkansas.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm going to go to Arkansas, film turkey hunt. I won't hunt, but I'll be filming somebody else. But that'll be fun.
Keep that shotgun in your lap. You never know.
Yeah. It would be the first time. But got some turkey hunts. We're going to go to TAC. God dang, dude. What are you doing, bruh?
When's it cutting off?
I don't know. I'll get it figured out. No, we're going to TAC. Total Archery Challenge in San Antonio. Shoot that.
In April? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
April 28th?
In April.
Yeah.
I think it's the last weekend.
Yep.
So,
That's always fun.
yeah, it definitely tests you, your skills and your hiking ability if you pick the right course.
Oh, man, it was so hot last year.
It was hot last year.
Natural Bridge Caverns, it's not the mountains of Idaho, but there's pretty steep hills throughout the different courses.
Yep.
And if it was in the 90s.
Yeah,
Probably.
and it's humid as hell.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a little trek, but I mean, it's good for you to do that kind of stuff for sure. But we'll do TAC. Like I said, we'll be turkey hunting, probably do a little fishing coming up. And then summertime, we'll try to do a whole lot of fishing then.
Mm-hmm.
But glad I could get you on the podcast today, man. Give you a little introduction to talk about Idaho.
One of my favorite things to talk about.
Right. We'll have to get on another one here soon, and we'll go over like some turkey stuff and turkey hunting, and some calls, and what we like to do.
Be here before you know it.
Right. I'm ready.
I'll be on the 18th, open in the morning. I'll be in Goliad, Texas, ready to go.
I hear you, man. I actually found out there's a guy on the Ranch and Wildlife Committee that I was talking to. And he's like, "Oh man, where are you from?" I said, "From Goliad." He goes, "Really?" He said, "My cousin has a ranch down there." And I said, "Well, what ranch you talking about?" He goes, "It's called the Double Q."
Huh.
And I said, "Double Q." I was like, "Where's that at? I've seen that sign somewhere before." And he goes, "It's on Clip Road." And I said, "Oh, really?" I said, "I passed by that place. We wound up looking at it on Onyx and trying to find their property." Yeah. You remember when we first came down there, we saw the gobblers in the middle of that road?
Yeah, you take the curve to the left and then that little dip culvert. And
they're the entrance right before where those gobblers were that were struck in the middle of the road.
I got you. You need to make friends with that guy.
Yeah, you can hop over there and see if they got some turkeys hiding on their place. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, it's pretty cool seeing people like that. And he was talking about how there's so many hogs down there and everything else. Yeah. So might have to check out, see him, shoot him a message, see if we can get some permission.
Careful with that permission.
Gotta make sure you get permission. But like I said, man, glad we get you on the podcast. We'll do another one here pretty soon.
Appreciate it, man.
Sounds good, man. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Like I said, this is a couple episodes in now, so let us know if you like it. Drop a comment on the YouTube on the video. We'll post it on Instagram and everything else. So give us a like, give us a follow. If you aren't, check out the Tejas Hunt Club group on Facebook. Mm-hmm. All you gotta do is type it in, Tejas Hunt Club. All we're gonna do is like share content. You know, we want to see the people that follow us and the people we talk to, like share their hunt stories, share their pictures and photos, everything. We just created the group, just kind of give people another spot to share their stories in the outdoors. So
that's what it's all about.
Yes, sir. So we'll see y'all next time. Appreciate y'all listening to the podcast, and that's it.
Adios.
That wasn't bad. It was like almost 45 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.